Welcome to the Dropout Multimillionaire Podcast, where we talk about tactical business strategy, building high-performance sales teams, and growing your business. If you're ready to break free from the status quo and join the ranks of the Mavericks, the Rebels, and the Renegades who refuse to conform and instead build multi-million-dollar businesses, then buckle up, because here we go. Welcome back to today's episode of the Dropout Multimillionaire Podcast. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. In fact, for the next few episodes, I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to train on the whiteboard. Now, for those of you listening on audio, you might want to jump over to the YouTube channel so you can see this video and see what I'm putting on the board, because it's going to be good. And what we're going to go over in the next few episodes is a subset of my training program that I have implemented with private and public companies all over the country. I've trained well over 1,000 people, and those people have sold billions over the last 15 years. Now, I can't get into everything we talk about because that's, quite frankly, a 2-day training process. So I'm going to give you a little subset of it. If you want more information, there are really 3 options. The first one, go get my book. We have a new book coming out. It's called No, The Psychology of Sales and Negotiation. The second option is I run a mastermind called the Force Multiplier Mastermind, where we teach things like tactical business strategy, building high-performance sales teams, historical P&L analysis, and measured profitable growth. And the third, I offer one-on-one coaching. I do this for well-funded entrepreneurs through 10 million in revenue, and then a consulting practice for corporate America. So those are kind of the different options if you want to get into more of this. But for now, let's get started on some of the training. Now, as we look at the sales process, I break this down into what I call the 4 boxes, okay? The 4 boxes consist of the introduction. Hi, my name's Brian. The fact-finding. Fact findings when we're going to ask a bunch of questions. The presentation, we're going to talk about our product. And there is the elusive close. Now, most salespeople think that the sales process really happens here in this presentation and close. And I'm telling you that that is why most salespeople will never reach their full potential. They don't understand the process. They don't understand the psychology behind it. They don't understand the way the customer is thinking. And they haven't overcome the very first objection that that customer has, okay? In fact, we say that the introduction is about 10% of the process. The close is about 10% of the process. The presentation, also about 10% of the process. Right here, in the fact-finding phase is where all the magic happens. In fact, I call it the magical closing, the 5 steps of magic. This is where it happens. This is where you're going to get everything you need to know. You're going to find out everything there is about the customer, what they want, why they want it, when they want it. You're going to take them through a series of transition statements and set of eases, positive feedback statements. You're going to get them to close themselves if, in fact, they're going to buy your product now, right? So this is going to be the most important thing we talk about. Okay, so let's get started on box 1, the introduction. And while it is only 10% of the entire sales process, here's the key. A properly scripted and executed introduction will allow you to do 2 things. Number 1, it will take your customer from a position of defensive mistrust, which is what all customers are when they start talking to a salesperson, to a more open mindset. And that more open mindset will allow you to overcome the very first objection your client has. In fact, every client has before they have it. And that's the key. Most salespeople talk about objections, and they always talk about objections back here. Well, now that I've done my pitch, I've got my objection script. And let me tell you something. If you're trying to overcome objections back here, A, you screwed up the entire sales process, and B, you've already lost the sale. The key to master sales is to know what those objections are going to be before the client has them, and to build a properly scripted sales process to overcome those objections prior to them having them. So by the time you get to the close, they have no place to go but to buy. All right, so you're saying, okay, Brian, we're taking them out of a defensive posture. We're opening their mindset to overcome this first objection. So what's the first objection? Well, let me tell you. Objection number 1 is people don't like salespeople. And you're a salesperson. Now, it's not so much that they don't like you personally. You might teach Little League baseball on the weekends and you have parties at your house and you're fun. But when you put on your salesperson hat, people go into defensive mode and they don't like you. Okay. It's not that they don't like you as much as they're afraid of you. Okay. And what are they afraid of? Well, this is human nature, right? People are afraid of being sold. Nobody wants to be sold because in their mind, they think that you're going to force them somehow with your magic salesperson voodoo. You're going to force them to buy something either they don't want, they don't need, or you're going to make them overpay for it because somehow they think salespeople have this magic that overwhelms them and makes them do things they don't want to do. And nobody wants to be sold. Number two, they are afraid of the unknown. They don't know what's going to happen next. Back to this voodoo magic you've got. They don't know what slick, cheesy sales line you're going to come up with. They don't know if you're going to use some magic closing formula. They don't know what's going to happen. And it creates a defensive posture or a fear in that client until they can figure out what's going to happen. So if we know the first objection, people don't like salespeople because they're afraid and they are afraid of being sold. They don't want you to make them buy something they don't want. And they are afraid of the unknown because they don't know what's going to happen and they don't know what you're going to do. Our job as salespeople is to overcome that objection first. Because we know as long as that objection is there, they are in defensive posture mode. There is a wall between you and the client that you're either going to have to break through, climb over, or get them to drop. And the next thing we're going to do is teach you how to do that. All right, if we're going to overcome that first objection, we need to play by two roles. The first rule is you need to understand your client doesn't care. They don't care who you are. I hear salespeople, hi, my name is Brian Will. They don't care who you are, and they certainly don't care what your last name is. The second thing they say is, I work for XYZ company. They don't care. They don't care who you are. They don't care who you work for. And the third thing, and this is a huge one, how are you doing today? Let me tell you something. Client does not want to have a random conversation about their day with you, the salesperson who they already don't like. So you've made three critical errors. Hi, my name's Brian Will. I work for XYZ company. How are you doing today? Terrible opening. The only thing that client wants to know when you start a conversation, particularly on the phone, is why are you calling me? Okay? So get to the point. Hi, my name's Brian. You had requested information on our product. I was calling to see if I could help you. You have a couple minutes. Now that statement says, yeah, I'm Brian. I'm telling you my name, but I'm not getting into my last name. You requested that I give you a call, and that's why I'm calling you back. Do you have a few minutes? I'm respecting your time. That's the first thing you need to do. Get rid of all the extraneous information, get right to the point, keep that guard from coming up as quickly as possible. Now, the second rule is to learn what we call a set at ease statement and a transition. And this is critical because it sets you up for everything that's going to happen next. Remember, our job is to get their guard down. Remember that they are afraid of being sold and they are afraid of the unknown. And our job is to take those two things away. So we use a set at ease statement that works like this. Hey, Joe, I understand you're looking for a product. Here's what we need to do. I'm going to need to ask you a few questions. Now, based on your answers, we'll make a determination on whether my product actually works for you or not. And if we think that it does, I will go ahead and make a recommendation. I will give you some pricing, and then I'm going to let you decide if this is something you like to do. Now, is that fair enough? Okay, so that's our set at ease and transition. And here's what we did. First of all, I told him what was going to happen next. I'm going to ask you some questions. If it works, I'm going to make a recommendation, and I'm going to let you decide, is it fair enough? And I'm going to set them at ease by telling them what's going to happen next. I'm taking away the unknown. Okay. Now, I'm also telling you that based on the answers to the questions, we're going to make a determination on whether my product works for you or not. I am trying to build some trust. You remember that defensive mistrust they have because they don't know what I'm going to do or I'm going to sell them? I'm going to make a recommendation if my product works. Okay. If my product does work, I'm going to go over some pricing. I'll let them know how everything works. And then here's the thing. I'm going to let you decide. I'm not going to try and sell you. I'm not going to leave you in the dark. I'm taking away the fear of being sold by letting you decide. I'm taking away the fear of the unknown by telling you exactly what's going to happen. I need to ask you some questions based on those answers. If my product works, I'll make a recommendation. I'll go over pricing, and then I'll let you decide. Okay. I am taking away the first objection right here. Now, here's the key. And this is the key to the key. Okay. Is that fair enough? Okay. This is what we call a positive transition statement. I have explained what I'm going to do, and now I need them to acknowledge that. I do that for a couple of reasons. First of all, I need to make sure they heard me. I need to make sure they understand it. And I want them to agree that we are about to go through a process, which is called our sales process, boxes 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. They really have no other answer to give you here. It's yes, that's fair enough. I'll let you ask me questions and make a recommendation, and I get to decide. Okay, well, that's fair enough. My defenses are starting to come down. There's no other answer. Are they going to say, oh gosh, no, please lie to me and force me to buy something? Of course, they're not going to say that. So, this is our first set of ease, our first transition statement, and our first positive feedback. This is the introduction. Hi, my name's Brian. I understand that you had requested some information on our product. Have you got a few minutes? You do? Okay, great. Listen, here's what we need to do. I need to ask you a few questions. Based on your answers, I'll make a recommendation if I think my product fits. And if it does, I'll go over pricing, and then I will let you decide if this is something you'd like to move forward with. Now, is that fair enough? You have taken them out of defensive mode. You have told them what's going to happen, and you have gotten permission to move forward in the process. You have begun to build trust. That is box number 1.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you would like to get more information on either of my books, joining the Force Multiplier Mastermind, or my one-on-one coaching programs, you can find me at www.brianwillmedia.com.